Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to all of you to the last day of the month of Gemini. In the physical week, today, Taurus Day. So tomorrow starts the last month of our path of the I Am. The last month, and you see the smile because I'm really happy because I love to transmute. So I love to change, and this means that in 1 month I start to travel again, and I leave Egypt. So I'm happy about that. Well, as you have seen, this month of Gemini was very Gemini. It was very very crazy. We have had so many weird things and so many different things in this month. So many crazy things, too many communications, friends, parties, all these kind of things that embodies the energy of Gemini. So I think that you have seen how it was, how crazy this month was, how different from the other ones. So that's very Gemini, and well, as you have seen, I have been embodying and channeling kind of the energy of each one of the months. So you can tell the difference. So I don't know what to expect from this next month of Cancer. I don't know if I'm gonna be crying the whole month or very deep and in silence. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this month. I hope I'm not crying every day. But for sure, the energy of Cancer will be very present during the next 30 days. 30 days. And even more, this whole month that is coming will be like a constant farewell, in which day after day we will be kind of saying bye to our daily connections. So something is really ending, and it's very Cancer. So even if we know that during this month of Cancer we will be much more like willing to attach and not to leave everything as we were doing, so because for sure we will have this kind of energy during Cancer, we have to learn the class for today, which is transmutation. Transmutation is the key in order to transcend this idea of Cancer, of how difficult it is for this energy of Cancer to leave everything behind. So this is why we have to integrate transmutation and to remember that the path is not ending actually in 1 month, is transmutating into a new path, okay, which is the path of the dragon. So we will keep doing these connections. We will not daily, but we will keep doing connections. We will be doing the movement of the Kundalini, of everything that we have been working with the whole year throughout the mountains on the snake of light through the planet. So we will keep going with our task, okay? So it's not ending. So of course that when the month of Cancer ends, I will explain how the path of the dragon will exactly be, okay? So once said this, let's talk about transmutation. Transmute or transmutate? For the English people, how do you say it in English? To transmute or transmutate? What is the correct way of saying it? Question. Transmute? Okay. Transmutate. What is the right one? Transmute. Okay. Transmute. Thank you. Never said that word like that. So I didn't want to make mistakes when I am speaking. Even if I do many, but I hope you get it. So let's transmute. So we have already spoken about what is to mutate, which basically mutate is the ability to change yourself in order to adapt to a new environment. To adapt into a new environment. So when I say mutate, I'm saying that I am changing something in me in order to be adapted to an environment which is around me. So pay attention to this because it's important to understand the difference between mutate and transmute, because usually that's the key of many of the things that we do wrong. So remember, mutate means to change. So basically means to mutate yourself, oneself, in order to be adapted to the environment you are living in. So the difference with transmutate or transmute is because of the word trans. Trans is a Latin word that means behind something or in front of something. Like, for example, when you have a street and you say trans is the other side of the street, or you have a wall, trans would be behind the wall. But it's something away, it's something that is in front or different from the environment you live in. So basically to transmute, would be that we change, not for the place we are, we change in order to cross the street, to cross into a new place and to adapt into a different environment, which is not my environment. Okay? So usually the mistake that we do when we listen or talk about transmutation is that we mistake transmutation with transcendence. And transcendence is not the same as transmutation. It's something totally different. So we have to understand the difference between that because sometimes we believe we are transmuting and we are not. Let's understand the differences. Let's make a very easy graphic. Something simple. So transcendere is basically to go like this. From one spot to another, going up or going down. Changing the position in the same place. So it's like going up to the stairs or going down the stairs, but you're always in the same spot. So transmutare means to move forward or to move backwards. You are in one place and you change the place. So you change yourself into different places and environments. So you will become different. As here, you are the same one, changing the point of view from above. Here you change the whole, you change everything. So as an example for transcend would be, for example, that you live in the same house and you have a partner, emotional partner, and you have a problem, a conflict with that partner in the house. So what you do is to solve the problem. You try to solve the problem with that partner. So when you solve the problem in the same house with the same person, and you already solved it, you transcended something into a new level. That would be to transcend. To transcend is that you didn't change the house, didn't change the partner, you just transformed the relationship that you had before with the same person. That would be transcend. To transmute would be that I was living in one house and I said, no, I will change my house. Another house. And that I have one partner, but I said, no, I will change my partner. So now the thing is that this change here, transmutation, is done by consciousness when you are aware. But if you are not aware and you are unconscious, it has another name. What is the other name? The middle point between transcend and transmute is what we call transform. The reason why transform is unaware is because the only thing that I changed was the form, but not the content. So transmute means that you change the whole thing into another thing. And to transcend is basically that you are aware now of how to solve the problem. But when you transform, you just change the shape, the form of things, but not the content. So that's why you change your house, but you carry the same problem than in the last one. And you change your partner, but you have the same problems that you had with the partner before, with the new one. The content is the same. The form is the only thing that changed. Do you get now the words? So this is why it's very important to understand when we use transcend, when we use transform, and when we use transmute. So when we speak about transcendence and transmutation, we have to understand this main difference, that transcendence is basically a conceptual topic, is something that changes our point of view, but it doesn't ask us for change our life. We can transcend a belief, we can transcend an idea, we can transcend a relationship, a conflict, a perception. We can transcend that without changing our life. We can still have the same job, we can still have the same dress in the same clothes, having the same relationship with other people, but we transcend the way in which we saw that before or felt that before. So that would be to transcend. Is conceptual, is something that doesn't ask you to change completely. But transmutation asks you for a big change, even physical, because it's about a mutation. So that's why it's much more related to the people that change the clothes, that change themselves, the personality, even the places, the languages, the relationships. They make a whole change in their life to becoming something new, something completely new, and that's transmutation. So transmutation asks much more from us than transcendence. So for example, humans, what we usually do is to transform, and we say, I'm transformed, I am transforming myself. When we say I'm transforming myself, what we usually do is to change the things that cover us, but we don't change the inside. Like, for example, someone that says, I want to change my life, and they, I don't know, make feng shui in their houses. So they change the furniture, they change the organization of every one of the objects in the room, but inside they are still the same. They didn't change anything within, just the outside. So for example, some people, I made the example today about some people change the color of the hair, like to gain like strength or to change some point of their views in life. So some of these things that makes them feel like they changed something in their life, but if you didn't change it inside, it's not transmutation, it's just transformation. So for example, I decided to change my hair. I let my hair longer this year. So that was, at first it was a transformation. Then it became a part of my transmutation, but at first it was just about the shape, and that's it. So let's understand this. Let's talk about the concept that I wrote today about this, which is the fifth dimension. Everybody is talking about the fifth dimension and how we are going to get to the fifth dimension, and if the fifth dimension, if we are living the fifth dimension or is coming or whatever. So important to understand that usually when we speak about living the fifth dimension, we are talking about the concept of the fifth dimension. So that brings us to transmutation, to transcendence. Why? Because we speak about transcend from this third dimension to the fifth dimension. So we would say that we live in a house that we call the third dimension, and we know how it is to be the third dimension. And then we want to go into the fifth dimension. So we transcend the idea of the third dimension, the conflicts and the perspective that we have from the third dimension, in order to understand the reality through the ideas of the fifth dimension, with unconditional love, with wisdom, will, and so much more. All the things, all the spiritual concepts from the fifth dimension. So in that moment, when we understand the concepts and we kind of feel the concept of the fifth dimension, what we now can do is to say, I am transcending the third dimension into the fifth dimension. And what it means, that my concept of the third dimension has been changed towards the fifth dimension, the concept of the fifth dimension, so I can live from the ideas of how the fifth dimension is. That's transcendence, which is not transmutation from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. Because to change from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, it means that even my body has to change completely, to mutate according to the fifth dimension. And that is much more work. It's something that you have to work with a lot in order to change your life into the fifth dimension. Completely, not as a concept, but as a reality. It's not something easy. So usually when we say or we hear this concept of the fifth dimension, that we are going to live in the fifth dimension, and the fifth dimension is appearing, and the reality is going to the fifth dimension. What we usually believe when we listen to these kind of things is that, like, the fifth dimension being here will come inside the house, pull away this one here, and say, "Don't worry, I'll take this from now on." So basically, would be like if the sun says, "Earth, don't worry, I will take it from here." So the sun comes to the earth and burns the earth, and everything blows away, and the sun says, "I will take care of this now." So basically, if the fifth dimension enters into the third dimension like that, we explode. We don't exist anymore. Basically, we disappear. So this misunderstanding of what dimensions mean makes us believe that the fifth dimension will appear in our realities and everything will change because we go into the fifth dimension anyway. So I explained in the month of Pisces, I guess, the dimensions. So I'm not gonna explain the dimensions because I already did. But I will take this just concept to remind you about this. Dimensions are not different places. Dimensions are different points of view of the same reality. So this doesn't mean that in order to feel the fifth dimension, you have to leave behind the third dimension. It means that the third dimension opens its point of view in order to perceive the dimension, or the fifth dimension closes its point of view and its perception in order to just feel the third dimension. So that's how it really is. So that's why it's much more related with transcendence, which is the change of our understanding of the same thing. It's not going into another place, it's basically to change our point of view of that place. Okay. Transmute is very different. Why? Because it's something that some people used to call to like transfiguration. So transfiguration comes from figure. Figure is basically the side, the shape of an idea, of an imagination. So something that you can imagine, that you can shape the idea. So that's a figure. So transfiguration is basically to change the figure of something, but usually in spirituality, it's used as a synonym of transmutation. So that's why, for example, when we call the transfiguration of Jesus Christ, when he enlightened and showed himself to some of the prophets, and the prophets, no, sorry, the apostles, I don't know the word in English. Changed its figure. So basically, it's talking about mutation. It's transmuting into something totally different, which would be to take the third dimension and to be able to change the third dimension into the fifth one, which is very different to transcendence, which is to change the idea from one point of view of a dimension into another. It's not changing the perception that you have, is actually changing the reality. So that would be the transmutation. So for example, like a magician or an alchemist that were able to transform the plum into gold, the people that get enlightened and you can see the light, the ones that can, I don't know, a shaman that can make rain, whatever, these kind of things that that someone can manipulate the third dimension into a tool of the fifth dimension, which is changing. That would be okay. So this is a very big difference between one and the other. To transcend is to change the point of view of a concept from one level into another. Level of understanding, of comprehension, of assimilation. And transmutation is basically the ability to change actually the physical reality into a new reality. Transcendence is from one concept to another concept of the same thing. Transmutation or transfiguration would be to transform actually, physically, a reality into another reality. While transformation would be in between both of them, to dress the same reality with different clothes. Now let's go into understand transmutation from a very mental point of view, like a Gemini point of view, which is for us used to be called the spiritual level. So let's explain this spiritual circuit. So in this spiritual circuit, we have point A trying to reach the point B. So we want to go from one point to another. So we think that in order to reach the point B, we have to make a path. We have to go straight to that point. So this is why we trace an idea of how to reach that place, which will be related to a morality. Remember that morality is all the qualities of one place. So if I was born in one specific place, the tools that I will get in order to take my trip will be according to my morality, which encodes ideas, preconcepts, and all these kind of things that my culture has inherited to me. So for example, if I was born in an island, maybe I will think that the only way in which I will be able to reach point A, to reach point B from point A will be a boat. So I will need a boat, and if there's no boat, I am not be able to reach point B. So that's a morality, and that's how it works. So very different would be the point of view of just mutation. If I speak only about mutation, that would be that the point A needs to transform in the point B without changing anything, my place. I am always in the same spot. So my mutation will be only in order to transform how I am inside that morality, inside that place. So I don't change the environment, I keep everything exactly as it is, and it's me, the one that changes in order to be much more adapted to the environment that I have around. So this here is what we call mutation, and this here is what we call transmutation. Okay, so now as an example to say what would happen for a person from point A to point B is that that person, instead of changing the whole life, what that person would do is, if this person A in the environment feels weak, what that person would do, instead of changing all that life, its life, and to transform itself and to do a process of transformation, if that person only follows morality, believing that this morality that that person has to reach point B doesn't need for a long process of transformation, of transmutation, so that person will just change some shapes of itself, believing that that's all it takes in order to reach point B. So for example, that person that is weak, and in order to believe that I am strong now, it paints the hair in red color, or or dresses with red or dresses with strong colors to show everybody that that person now is strong. So it's according to the morality of a place that doesn't change, is always the same, and you just change a little bit of you, believing that through that morality is the only way you will reach point B. But it's not transmutation. So this is the process of transmutation, which is not transcendence. Remember, to transcend something doesn't take you to a different place. It takes you to a different level of comprehension of something. So, for example, when we get the idea of transcendence, I need to transcend something. It's something beyond transformation, because you don't change just something from the outside to believe you changed. But in the process of transcendence, what you do is to maybe take some therapy. You can go to, for example, you have a problem with your partner, and you go to a therapy, couple therapy. You maybe go to the Akashic Records lecture and all these kind of things. So when you do that, you're not transmuting the reality. What you are doing is transcending an idea, because now you had a different point of view of what was your reality. So you say, oh, now I get it. So you change your point of view and you transcend the idea into point B. But this is not transmutation, because transmutation would be to say, oh, now I get it. Now I understand why I have this partner, why I am in this relationship. So now I get that this is all about my transformation, my own transformation. So this other person accomplished its mission with me. So I have to change my life and to divorce and to do something different for myself, for example. And that would be transmutation, because you're mutating, you're changing your whole life. But most of us humans, we don't transmute our lives because we have no idea what is coming. So we are really afraid of what is coming, because our main goal is point B, but we have no clue of what is happening in the middle. So this is why we usually go back to the same things, because we rather the bad things that we know than the things that may come, because we usually might say, what if what I expect for it to happen, it don't happen? For sure you have asked that once. Afraid of not knowing. And in order to transmute, we have to learn how to leave behind what we were in order to be something new. So when I am willing to reach point B from point A, remember, according to my morality, I will believe that the only way to reach that point is through a boat. So if I live in an island, I will say I need only a boat to reach there. But life will show me that maybe a boat is not all that I need. Maybe I need the boat here, but then I have to walk, and then I have to take a bicycle, and maybe the last step is to take an airplane. Life will take me to different options. So in order for me to be open to those options that offer me to arrive to the point B, I have to know how to discern which one I need in each moment. And to discern altogether is what we call consciousness. Consciousness is the ability to discern. So if I open myself to different possibilities, I am conscious. If I say the only way to reach there is through a boat, I will be only using my morality in order to reach that point. And maybe I won't be able to transmutate and won't reach there. So remember that transmutation is inviting us to realize that we have to allow ourselves to transform completely in order to find something new, to become something new. So usually to transmute is very difficult for us as a society, because usually when we start to change, transmuting into a new us, usually the environment starts to say who are changing your mind, who is controlling your life, or maybe you are in a cult or something like this, or maybe you fall in love with someone and you are changing everything because now you are different, or whatever. Everyone start to think around an environment that you are doing something wrong because you are changing. And actually, this is the whole point, is that when you actually decide to really change, you have to take the strengths of your own life. And for sure, the people that were used to how you were won't understand what is happening. So the first stage of transmutation is very tough. It's very difficult for everyone, because we actually don't know what is going to happen, and we are leaving behind something that we have built. So it's very difficult to take the decision, because we don't know anything about how it's going to be after. Like when we decide to get divorced, when we decide to move from our houses, when we decide to change a country, to leave, to quit a job or the university, these kind of things that we put so much energy in, we kind of believe that maybe if we do that change, it's so terrible in the first stage that our bodies needs to adapt, and sometimes we think about if what we are doing is the right thing or not. So important to know too that a transmutation can only be guided by the self, by the only one inside. Otherwise, it's a transformation. For example, when someone says you have to do this or that and change this or that, in a cult or like in a sect or something like this, or for example, also in a relationship that says you have to leave your family or your friends to be only with me and these kind of things, this is not a transmutation. This is a transformation. So you are not really doing the real change, because it's not your own decision and completely decision by your own awareness. Okay, so this is very important to understand when we are willing to change our lives in a huge step. So about transmutation, this is what we get from the whole month of Gemini, which is our ability to, and our goal to adapt to everything, to open to new knowledge, to learn from new things, to relate with new people, to open our world into many different things, and to allow ourselves to change, to transform into new things, because we are basically eternal change. So once said this, let's go to the last alignment of the month of Gemini. And remember that tomorrow or tonight, the new song for Cancer begins. So the new frequency will accompany us from tonight till the last day of our path. The vibration for today is the sound K. The statement is, I am a product of eternity. The code for today is the name of one of the 12 families of Atlantis, which is Gavin or Gavinis. So in honor of one of the 12 families, protectors of the 12 doors of the planet, so we pronounce their name, Gavinis. Sit comfortable, close your eyes, and concentrate in your breathings. I take a deep breath and I become aware of my entire physical body. I bring my attention from my feet till my head, going through every joint, starting to move them softly, slowly, each one at its own time, from your toes, ankles, knees, hip, spine, fingers, wrist, elbows, shoulders, neck, and the jaw. Softly, slowly, I start to move my body like in a dance, stretching each part of it as I yawn, recognizing each corner, each feeling, sensation of every part of the body. As I see, observe, and feel my body, I become aware that I am what I am, thanks to the transmutation, to the eternal transmutation of my body. And I become aware that if it is in my will to keep going with the process of evolution, I have to allow myself to intention, the transmutation from now on in my life. So in this way, I recognize the things that in my life needs to be transmutated, the things that I must transmute for myself in order to become something new, different. So I bring all of that and I start to mold it to become that as I move and dance with my body, becoming myself, what I am meant to be. I become aware of those things that I will become. I integrate that, recognizing that new reality of me lives already within. I can't become that. In the same way, I can recognize that I can transmutate, that I can become what I expect. I also recognize that in the future I will change my goal into a new transmutation, which will be constant, looking for new changes as I recognize myself a product through eternity. I take a deep breath, letting all this energy and ideas come out from my cells, expanding towards every direction from my body, creating this huge torus that embodies the potential of what I am and what I may become. I expand this torus that embodies the potentialities of all the products that I can become throughout eternity. I am a product of eternity. I am a product of eternity. I am a product of eternity. I think, I think, I think. I am transmutation. I am Gemini. Take a deep breath and slowly expanding the body, stretching and yawning. Start to come back here and now, each one at its own time, honoring your body, the physical body, caressing it, Thank you, everybody, for having accompanied me another month in this path of the I Am. And as always, see you tomorrow at the same time, this time to begin with our last month, the month of Cancer.